Hello everyone and welcome back to Cooking with Jan. This is episode 19. This episode will be a first for us because we're going to be doing something vegetarian, even vegan. I got a request from my friends and my faithful viewers, among them Daniel Taylor, Yolanda Hernandez, Mike Rahm, and Christian Linde here in Germany. They wanted me to do something vegetarian/vegan. So we're going to do something tonight with sweet potatoes, tomatoes, and some rosemary. This will be a baked sweet potato Italian style. For two people, you'll take just 2 sweet potatoes, medium size, cut it into 3 parts, and then divide each part into 2, so you have 6 pieces. And I have about 12 pieces here, so that's that. Then you'll need about, for 2 people, 1 vine tomato each. I've cut those up here. And finally, just some rosemary stalks we have here. This is all we need apart from the spices and the salt and pepper, which I'll show you just in a second. First step in the preparation is to take a oven-safe pan, and we want to warm up the pan with some neutral oil. I use some rapeseed oil. You can use sunflower oil. Just make sure it's neutral oil, not olive oil because it's too strong. We're going to sear our sweet potatoes. I believe that yes, I can hear it sizzling. You have to make sure that your pan is always hot enough. Yes, we get that nice sizzle. You just put them on one side. We're going to rotate the sides for the sear, as you'll see in a second. We're talking about frying them on one side. So go to another side, just rotate them like such. Doesn't really matter what order you do it. It's just all about getting a nice frying on the side. Just make sure they can stand up. As you can see, I've cut the potatoes so that they can stand up. And sometimes you can just use your fingers just to help things along, make things go faster. One last important note. We also got our oven fired up in the meantime because we're going to bake our sweet potatoes. And the oven is set at 200 degrees centigrade or 430 degrees Fahrenheit. And not the convection setting, just the normal setting with heat coming from above. And still in the searing process, about 3 minutes in. We're not going to need much more. I'm now laying some on the back. Just make sure you find a side that's not been touched. I just know my pan, right? And a lot of the heat is here in front, and a little less of it is here. So I've taken those that are already seared, which looks like this. I think you can see that, and put them back like you would do on a grill, just to make sure they don't get too cooked initially. And those that are still needing a little more of a sear, that's getting better. This one too, this needs a little bit more, just a minute or so. Put that in the back. So now the next step is to take your salt, make sure you put them together. Salt and pepper first. And as Stefan Hensler, the German cook who does a lot of these simple and quick and delicious recipes, tells us, you can put a lot of salt on. Don't worry. The sweet potato can take it, but don't overdo it. Just make sure that you don't worry about over salting your potatoes. Salt goes on there, pepper next. And finally, I like to put a little bit of chili powder on. You can also use a fresh chili, like a Thai chili, but please don't make it so spicy, it's so hot. I just use this chili powder is actually pretty mild, but it just kicks it up just a little bit. You can also use cayenne pepper. So in the oven they go, and because I have this nice fancy oven-safe pan, I can take off the handle. And there they go. And they will, at this temperature, bake for 20 minutes, and then we're going to take them out and do the next step. 20 minutes have elapsed, and we're going to take out sweet potatoes from the oven. Make sure I can grab them like this. Yes! And now comes the good stuff. And as you can see, for example here, part of this black. Now you may ask yourself, why is that? That's because it's small, right? And the bigger pieces, they need a lot of time for them to get done. So don't worry about that. It's also just the surface. But now comes the good stuff. You take your tomatoes, easy as pie. Bunch it up. Take your tomatoes, sprinkle them here as such. that. So that the sweet potatoes can soak up the nice tomato juice. And 1 rosemary stalk per 2 potatoes. You can use more rosemary if you want to, but 1 will do. That'll be fine. In the oven it goes for 5 minutes. Okay, our sweet potatoes, tomatoes, and rosemary bake is finished. Oh, you can already hear that wonderful sizzle. Make sure I do this properly. Oh, look at that. Oh, fantastic. Okay, now we will plate this. So let's bring it over here. I'll give myself there's 4. I'll even take this one, which is a little bit damaged. Right there, 6. Take your tomatoes. You can also use cherry tomatoes. Like I said, that it doesn't look that great, so I tried to make it a little bit more cosmetic by adding another stalk of rosemary, but this is what it looks like. We're going to eat now, and as always, I have poured myself one of my favorite wheat beers, so cheers. Yolanda, Christian, Mike, and Daniel, I really recommend that you make this dish. It's very easy and it's vegetarian, vegan. So you'll be very happy with that. If all of you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Recommend me to others. Please share my video with others. I'd be delighted to add more viewers to my community, which is actually growing. And as Jacques Pepin says, happy cooking.